Politics is dirty and it's ugly. Don't ever let anybody tell you otherwise. I ran for Congress twice myself, and it's a nasty business. Doesn't mean we should abstain from it. Means we should wade into it and fight for what we believe. But man, some of the stuff these people pull on you in the name of money and power, boy, does my next guest have a story for you. Robby Starbuck kicked off the ballot, running for Congress in the state of Tennessee. He was obviously the candidate I was enthusiastically behind. Good man, he shares our values, and he gets kicked off the ballot. Robby, we'll get to your book, Puddin' Pirates and the Problem with Power, in a moment. I want you first, please have the floor. Don't feel the need to rush. Tell me why, if I'm in the state of Tennessee, I can no longer vote for Robby Starbuck.
I mean, it's pure backroom lunacy. So basically, I mean, I was leading in the polls. I had the support of, Rand Paul, Candace Owens, many others, many members of Congress, Marjorie Taylor Greene, so on and so forth. So I had, really the wind in our sails in our campaign. We were really cruising along. But the problem is a lot of the establishment in power were not fans of me winning this race. The reality is they couldn't control me. I was refusing money from every large corporation. I was refusing money from Big Pharma. And so basically I wasn't kissing the ring and I wasn't playing the game. And that's something I'll never apologize for. Some people argue, oh, well, you should have done it till you got there type thing. But I think you compromise yourself in little ways. It's death by 1,000 cuts. And eventually you've compromised yourself into something that you can't really recognize. And I'm just not willing to do that. The whole reason my family got into this was to be a change where people could see, hey, you can do this differently. And so, if that's not possible, we're just going to keep fighting until we make it possible. So essentially, they used a bylaw that is meant to keep Democrats from running as Republicans. So there's a bylaw in our state party that says that you either have to have voted in 3 out of 4 statewide primaries in Tennessee or be vouched for by party officials. So I've lived here a little over 3 years. That's not long enough to have reached the 3 out of 4 statewide primaries. So I was vouched for by a historic number of officials on the local level. So even the state party chair has admitted that he doesn't know of any candidate who's vouched for with as many letters as I've been vouched for who was not allowed on the ballot ever. And so they went ahead and did this, though, in a secret vote with 16, establishment SEC members who voted in a secret vote. First of all, the vote was supposed to be public. It was supposed to be a public hearing where we could have people there. Then they changed it a couple days before to it's going to be private. And then they changed it to you're not going to be allowed to speak. And then they changed it to you're not allowed to come, and it's at a secret location. And at least then they said it's going to be a public vote. Then they said, no, it's not going to be a public vote. It's going to be a secret vote. So it went down the line until they realized, okay, there's going to be too many people here. There's going to be too much pressure. Let's do this in secret so no one can hold us accountable. And what we found is, number one, not only did they not even adhere to their bylaws when they were voting, but they just decided unilaterally, we're going to choose what options people have in this race. And so they threw out what has been the vast majority of Middle Tennesseans' choice in our own campaign and said, nope, you only get to choose from these establishment options. And the truth is the people left in the race who have money behind them and can actually win a race if I'm not in it are people who the establishment can control. They're going to ultimately listen to the machine. And so that's how this was run. Now, we went to federal court. In federal court, the judge there, he did decline to intervene and issue the injunction and the restraining order we wanted, but he did give us a sympathetic decision. And that sympathetic decision essentially admits, the words are there that the Tennessee Republican Party did not follow their own rules. And he essentially in that order also said a lot of these claims are going to be, better off in state court where the judge is going to be more empowered within their jurisdiction to act on a couple of these things. And so now that's the next step is we're going to state court. But here's the other part of it. It's crazy expensive to do this, to go and sue a state party and go sue all these people. But it has to be done because if I don't do it, who's going to do it? And the most shocking thing that happened after all this was the number of people who reached out who were good, hardworking Tennesseans who wanted to run for mayor or run for SEC or run for state legislature. And they had this happen to them. But the story's never been told because they didn't have money or media connections. They didn't have the following that I had. And all these people have reached out and said, please fight this. And so, I feel a responsibility. No matter what happens, we are going to fight this and intend to win this. And we've got a decent chance in state court, so decent that USA Today and the Tennessean just decided yesterday that I'm still going to be allowed in the candidate forum and debate because, I had so much support beforehand, and the chance that I'm back on the ballot automatically throws me back into the lead of this race. So, we're going to keep fighting. We're running this as if I'm not going anywhere, because I'm not going anywhere.
Robby, if people want to support this effort, is there a way they can do so? Or I know you accept prayers, but what can they do beside that?
Absolutely. Starbuck2022.com. There's a donate button there. You can mail a check or donate online. It's a huge help, because basically any legal costs that doesn't come from the campaign, I'm paying myself, me and my wife are doing, because I'm going to see this through. The establishment has to be held accountable, and too many people have looked the other way and said, oh, well, it's going to cost too much, or it's going to be too hard. You know what? I've got time, I've got money, I've got energy. We're going to fight the establishment, because if people don't do it, they're going to keep getting away with this. They're going to keep running a system that ultimately doesn't just not serve the people, it's actively built to hurt the people. And so we've got to stand up, and, we're going to take that stand.